Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon to everyone who has joined. Thanks for joining our webinar on Rise with SAP in 60 Minutes by Kaar Technologies. This is Kiru from Kaar Technologies. Let's get started with the webinar. Today, we have our keynote speaker, Vaidehi Srinivasan, who is the solution architect at Kaar Technologies with more than 25 plus years of expertise. Also, pioneer in reconstructing and deconstructing complex SAP landscapes based on business requirements and specialized in handling digital and landscape transformation. We also have Amudan Ponaya, who is head of delivery at Kaar Technologies with 20 plus years of SAP expertise, who is certified project manager specialized in service delivery, transition and transformation, and process implementation, and has a hands-on experience in program project management, solutioning, and expertise in migration, transformation, and greenfield implementation. Today, he'll be covering our successful Rise with SAP implementations. With that note, and without any further ado, I'll hand over this session to Vaidehi. Hello, Vaidehi.
Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for joining the webinar. And in today's webinar, I would basically start with the need for an intelligent enterprise and then talk about its components and how Rise with SAP fits that bill as we embark on this digital transformation journey to succeed as an intelligent enterprise, and how we as Kaar Technologies work with you in this process. And towards the end, we'll have Amudan talk about our Rise with SAP success stories. So let's get started. Primarily, we are at the crossroads of Industry 4.0. We are spearheaded by innovators and disruptors, and we are fueled by technology. Entire industries are being transformed as we speak. While the transformation is driven by a small number of industry leaders, it is changing the rules of business success for the entire industry. Therefore, virtually every organization in the world is experiencing drastic shifts in the way they operate. It could be because of the AI, ML, and all the new technologies that we've been hearing about. Customers' expectations have changed too. Their expectations of the products, services, and the experiences are higher than ever before. And at the same time, employees demand more transparency and strive for more value-added roles. And running a more sustainable business and living up to the corporate responsibility is becoming an absolute must. And none of it can come at the cost of a cut in the operating margin. As a consequence, more and more companies are on a constant journey to reinvent themselves in terms of products and the experiences they offer, and their way of unlocking new sources of revenue. And they enter emerging markets, and their understanding of efficiency and productivity, as well as their role that customers expect them to play in facing and solving environmental and social challenges. And all these expectations lays the foundation for an intelligent enterprise. And there are primarily three components of an intelligent enterprise, and these three are interconnected components. First, the intelligent suite, the intelligent technologies, and the digital platform. Primarily, the digital platform, as I would define it, is what facilitates the collection and the connection of data, as well as the integration and extension of processes within the intelligent enterprise, and predicts the outcomes and suggests actions based on accumulated data. Next comes the intelligent suite. This is to enable the automation of commonly used business processes, as well as better interactions with customers, partners, through intelligent embedded applications. And so what is the third pillar? That is the intelligent technologies. And that is responsible for embedding the automation into core processes that enables applications to detect patterns. So as we strive towards getting to be an intelligent enterprise, we have to make sure we satisfy all these three components, irrespective of the product that you choose. So primarily, there are a couple of drivers for transformation. And this is to explain what these drivers are and why everybody is getting obsessed about getting transforming to a digital enterprise. Basically, business leaders know technology is the key to driving this transformation. And now there has risen the need to bind both the IT and the business strategy. They have to work hand in hand to be enabled to successful in this transformation journey. And this threat is visible by drivers that is accelerating this transformation. First, we need to identify the risks and see around corners before disruptions actually occur, and when there is still time to do something about them. So we'll have to identify the risks earlier than later. And then we have to ensure future stability and success and there's a need to get and use data to guide in making strategic decisions. Traditionally, we have been used to having systems and organizational silos within organizations which hold back the businesses. So we cannot afford to continue operate in the same way as before. And hence, now we have the ability to actually connect processes across systems and ecosystems, and this becomes very critical. And when you do this, this ensures improved customer experience and streamlined operations. So rather than waiting to be disrupted by competitors, organizations are actively disrupting their own sectors. They would rather start doing the disruption and identifying ways and means of doing things more effectively and efficiently. The ability to continuously invent new approaches and implement them rapidly through technology is essential to getting ahead. And then you have to stay ahead, and that's the only way that you can leave the competitors behind. So these are some of the numbers that we have brought up, which tells us the business leaders feel the urgency. 79% of them connect operations to support customer experiences, and 59% actively use data and analytics for this kind of strategy. And the intelligent enterprise. So the question, of course, is how do you get there, and how Kaar Technologies would assist you in this journey? We have been in this journey and have worked with enterprises big and small in their digital transformation journey. The intelligent enterprise framework basically has to necessarily provide certain foundation for companies to break down these silos that we talked about and adopt dynamic cross-functional business processes to be able to deliver the optimal experiences. If I were to break down the key characteristics of what is expected to run an intelligent enterprise, the first one is the technology platform with the freedom and flexibility to build, manage, and deploy applications anywhere on one holistic platform. The second, you need a sustainable business solution to help businesses understand and manage the impact on people and the environment. And this manageable solution should also be able to apply leading edge industry best practices and extend the current business processes as well. Number four, we need a platform that provides the ability to gain insights into sentiments and feelings of customers, employees, and other business stakeholders. And fifth, the ability to continuously transform business processes and achieve customer excellence, and also to continuously analyze, model, simulate, automate, and monitor these processes efficiently. And finally, we'll have to have the ability to unify every point of interaction and integration across partners to help businesses move faster. So if these are the various functionalities or key characteristics of an intelligent enterprise, let me try to correlate each one of what I listed to what is available in RISE with SAP. First, the intelligent suite is the heart of the strategy. And there, with RISE with SAP, we have the SAP S/4HANA Cloud at its core, handling all these core processes. And here, the SAP S/4HANA Cloud is joined by the industry cloud, which delivers highly verticalized and innovative applications for specific industry verticals. And then you have the unified business process intelligence, or the BPI, and cross-application analytics that delivers new dimensions of real-time and predictive data insight and foresight to steer the business. And then you have the business network. The business network takes the strategy outside the four walls. It allows us to collaborate seamlessly with trading partners to drive connected processes and experiences. And finally, all this sits on the business technology platform, which provides the common architecture that delivers a uniform master data layer. It is a cloud-based integration into both SAP and non-SAP solutions, and the extension capabilities are numerous. And this allows companies to innovate faster and stay lifecycle compliant on top of their core applications. And with RISE with SAP, all these 5 components that I talked about are bundled into one single contract. So now let's see how we go about in understanding this RISE with SAP. So the first step, as I would see it, is the business process design. Here, why is this essential? Customers basically benefit by designing their to-be or existing business process, and they have to put the right model and exchange the thoughts and ideas with key stakeholders. The step 2 is where the customer gets the digital core platform setup. This could either be the public cloud or the S/4HANA private cloud. And we'll talk about each of these in the next couple of slides. Number 3 is putting the business technology platform. So where is this BTP or the business technology platform used? I see three use cases here. One is you would like to integrate the S/4HANA with other third-party products. The second, you might have the need to communicate digitally with another party or the government. And the third one is where the customers would like to use partner-developed or own customized applications. They could have already have these customized applications, or they find some white spaces and decide to build their own custom applications. The answer for all these three scenarios is BTP. And how is this beneficial? Primarily in the BTP, you have a number of pre-built integration packs, and then you have various connectors to SAP and third-party systems. And you have more than 100 pre-built analytical content packages. And you also have the industry and LOB content process workflows. So when all this is available, you are able to seamlessly connect from the core SAP S/4HANA to the other products and the other applications and be able to function. And number four, what is required is the SAP Business Network. When I add the SAP Business Network to this entire picture, it is because the global economy now has transformed into a network economy. What you have is smart devices there, you have maintenance providers, you have suppliers, you have retailers, you have financial institutions, customers, logistics providers, and contract manufacturers. As companies, basically, they have started to focus on their core competencies, but they've also looked to other partners to provide complementary business processes. So all these have to work seamlessly for the services to be provided. Examples of where you would have gone ahead for other networks is the use of contract manufacturers in high-tech industries, possibly supplier networks that could be three or more levels deep. You could have logistics service providers to move goods around the world, maintenance providers to support after-sale service for goods, service providers that provide contingent staff. And as products and devices get smarter, we even get network of things. So things that can share information on how they're performing or being used. So companies are basically leveraging their network of partners. But while you outsource, it is also critical that we have full visibility and control on all these processes so that we can be sure that we can deliver on the promise to the customers. So what do we need here? We first have to understand the supply network beyond just the tier one suppliers. Number two, you need to collaborate with manufacturing partners and asset service providers in a manufacturing or an asset network and then you have to serve customers through distributors, resellers, wholesalers, or retailers in a demand network. These companies' supply chains are truly dependent on the network of partners. So if any of these chains are not working, then primarily the enterprise fails. And earlier, this was a traditional approach where you had a linear fragmented supply chain. And that was optimized for efficiency, but those don't work anymore. So now we need a networked economy calls for network supply chain that is resilient, agile, and flexible. RISE with SAP offers us these three touch points. One is the Ariba network, which is used during sourcing to collaborate with suppliers. Then you have the SAP Asset Intelligence Network, which is to collaborate with assets, stakeholders from manufacturers, to operator, to maintenance agencies, etc. And the third one is the SAP Logistics Business Network. This is used to track products, shipments to customers through collaboration with freight forwarders and carriers. Now that you have the business network in place, we'll have to ensure that we are able to monitor all of this. And monitoring this is using the SAP Cloud ALM. And this is not only important during the transformation project, but post-go live, this is very critical. What does the SAP Cloud ALM give us? It gives the customers the power to detect problems, including automated alert management and automated corrections. Now you're empowered to understand the healthiness of the solution and the efficiency of the operation. And also that the end-to-end transparency for users, integrations, applications, and business processes is provided. You detect anomalies and enable both LOB and IT users to identify disruptions. Root cause analysis is much easier, and both on the technical as well as on the business process level. And this enables operation automation by event-driven or regular triggered operation flows. And next, I would talk what you need to add into this mixture is the Launchpad service. What is the SAP Launchpad service? It primarily enables organizations to establish a central point of access to SAP custom built, and third-party applications and extensions. And these could be on the cloud or on-premise. Why is this required? Because you already see that your landscape has gotten complex. You have various systems and repositories. You have both SAP and third-party solutions. Various UI technologies are used. You have hybrid setups, some on cloud, some on-premise, and you have the multi-channel experience using mobiles and stuff. So there is a need to provide a seamless customer experience. So that's the reason a Launchpad service is required. And then you have the infrastructure and operations. So where is all this going to get hosted? With RISE with SAP, you have three options really. The first one is the SAP DC, which is called the HEC. And this is always the default for SAP S/4HANA Cloud. And the second one is the hyperscaler DC, where you have the option to host the solution on either Azure, Google Platform, AWS, and Alibaba in certain locations. And the third one, RISE with SAP, does provide you option to host it on the customer data center. This is offered for special cases where you are a regulated industry, possibly a public sector, or you have countries with, you're in a country with data residency. So with RISE with SAP, you get all these components in a single contract and one set of SLAs. And finally, for any transformation to be effective, you need to enable the workforce and make necessary steps towards handling the change management. So we have two flavors here. For learning and adoption, you have the Learning Hub and the SAP Enable Now. The Learning Hub primarily, I would say, is for professional roles like consultants, administrators, developers, and those involved in the SAP software implementation or deployment. Whereas SAP Enable Now is for the end users. You use it to onboard and empower your users and employees with the right content at the right time, and also the need to ensure user efficiency, productivity, and compliance. And finally, once you have set up all this in place, the loop goes back to business process design, because that's a continuous process. And we'll have to continuously redesign our process to ensure that we get the best of benefits. So what you see here on this slide is a complete RISE with the SAP package. And depending on where you are and what you want to do, you get to choose what is required and how you go about this journey. So when you look at the journey to an intelligent enterprise with SAP, RISE with SAP, every customer is very different. So we know that each customer could be at a different point now, or you might not yet be an SAP customer as well. So I would say there are, okay, now I see a poll question. So if you can take a couple of minutes to answer this, I can go forward with my deck. The question is, when are you planning to adopt the SAP S/4HANA? Are you in progress? Maybe 2022-23 or 2024-25, or you're yet to decide. And based on our interaction with customers in the last couple of years, we see a lot of them at least starting to speak the language. Existing ECC customers or net new customers, they've started speaking the language and are able to connect with us when we tell them the need for an intelligent enterprise and this digital transformation journey. So let's just give you a couple of more minutes to complete this question, and then I can proceed. Okay, so while you answer, let me continue. So like I said, each one of you would have a unique start. You could possibly be a digitally grown startup and have already embraced the standardized processes and cloud architecture. But you might need solutions that can scale and grow and push you forward at an increasingly fast pace. So you are one of those early innovators. And there could be other companies with a longer heritage and history, and they're facing very complex and often highly customized on-premise solutions. And these systems have delivered for them for decades, but they carry a higher cost and are limiting their ability to adapt and innovate quickly. And there are other companies that have started their journey into the new world of modular ERP cloud applications, but they are at a very early stage and aren't seeing the power of the true transformation as yet. And there could be another class of customers who are starting at the outer edge of their business, and then they're moving their selective markets or processes or businesses to the cloud. And now they want to see how to link those to the core of their businesses. The point here is there's not a single path forward, but every business is moving forward. And RISE with SAP gives gives you the business of transformation moving forward much faster. It is that service that will help you to take the business transformation as a strategy where you need to go. So your starting point could be very different. Now that we have a fair idea about RISE with SAP, there are two decisions that we have to make. One is about your transformation approach. And the second one is about whether you go with the SAP HANA private cloud or the public cloud. So let's look at the transformation approaches. Depending on, you could fall into any of these use cases. So on one end, I see some ECC customers who prefer to go the brownfield way, meaning they're going for the system conversion, where they have low, they want all their historical data, they want their custom code to be retained, and their business process transformation. As a first step, they just want to move to S4 as a technical upgrade and then take up the digital transformation from there. On the other end, customers who are willing to redesign their complete business process fall under the greenfield category. So these customers have a high appetite for business process transformation. They're not worried about carrying their historical data forward. They're willing to adapt to best practices and just move with the cutover data. So these companies would prefer to use the model company or the best practices and do a fresh implementation from scratch. And in between is where we talk about the selective data transition. So there could be customers who want a mix and match of both. So there are customers who want to keep their customizing as is, but they want to carry only a selective amount of data. So if you go with the traditional brownfield, you get all the data and all the customizing. So these customers, whom we call as shell conversion, they want to reuse all of their customizing, but they just want a selective data. And there are other customers, they want to manually automate what data goes in there and reuse partial or existing ECC customizing. So depending on where you are and what you want to do with your existing data and footprint, when we do an assessment with each of you, we would be able to suggest the right approach based on the workshops that we do. So once this decision is made, the next decision is about whether you go with the SAP HANA public cloud or the private cloud. So if you have made the decision about brownfield, then it is the private cloud, because you can't do a brownfield with all the data into the public cloud. So what are the factors in favor of a private cloud, and what is the SAP HANA private cloud? It gives you the full functional scope, all the country coverage, all the lines of business, industry processes, and also allows for whatever partner add-ons that you need. And you can choose your hyperscaler infrastructure, and you have the freedom of upgrades. Primarily, you get to choose when you do your upgrades. However, there's an outer limit, and I would rather have periodic upgrades rather than pulling along an obsolete system. And then the licensing again is by FUE or the full usage equivalent. And this, like I said, the private cloud is primarily for customers who chose to go the brownfield conversions, or they want to keep modifying the existing business processes and be able to have that flexibility to do SAP modifications as well. When I talk about the public cloud, which you see on the left, this is completely managed by SAP and is the most cost-effective option for consuming software. And with this, you get to have the fastest path to innovation. Why? Because you're going with standards, industry standards. It is completely pre-configured, and this is completely a new way of consuming enterprise software. So your implementation is not as lengthy, and it is more replaced by outcome-oriented, fit-to-standard workshop. So your business adapts to the best practices that is provided. And when you move to the public cloud, you may also require the enterprise to adopt a transformational approach, since the processes have to be changed. But eventually, the users enjoy a new experience of agile and responsive software. And they handle standard day-to-day operations with a new degree of efficiency and automation as well. And they're happy to add more value to what they do rather than the mundane stuff. This approach is largely seen in many small and medium-sized enterprises who are driven by a desire for standardization and cost reduction. For larger companies, those that choose with public cloud are where we have seen it could be for selected business areas, for divisions and geographic locations where speed and agility are needed. So how do we assist you in making these decisions? We run assessments on your existing landscape. So to try and understand what your current landscape looks like. And we do this with KTern.AI, which is our digital transformation platform. And I would take the next 10 to 15 minutes talking to you about how we use KTern.AI in this journey. Primarily, KTern is a SaaS-based digital transformation platform that addresses all the areas of transformation. It offers its expertise in 5 buckets: the digital maps, the digital projects, digital process, digital labs, and digital minds. And it's the happy space for customers and SIs during this transformation journey. So let me tell you what each of these actually contains. The digital maps, it provides you an automated business case generation. It has SAP assessment bots. You get project, test, and process maps out of it. You get the fit gap wizards. You have the risk predictors, the TCO estimator, and the digital transformation roadmap simulator. So at the end of using this, when you assess and plan, we kind of help you and provide you a roadmap on how you can get there, because getting to S4 is just the beginning of the transformation journey. There's a lot more things that have to happen post that. And we put that on a 3 to 5 year roadmap to provide you that. The next is the digital process. I would call this as the automated business process governance. This has the SAP scope item bots. It has the process orchestrator, the BPML wizards, the customization console, and the custom code remediation wizard. Just to add on the custom code remediation wizard, if you're going on a brownfield, all your custom code has to be remediated to be able to work on the S4 environment, both in terms of moving from a non-HANA database to the HANA database, and also from having a different data structure in S4. So when you do this, a lot of work goes into identifying the custom code that has to be remediated, whether it's really required, and the automatic remediation that KTern provides. And then you have the materiality engine, because you don't want to go and remediate every single code in your system. You just have to do what is really required and what you've been using so far, because over the years you would have accumulated a lot of garbage custom code in your system as well. And this also provides you the training academy. So based on your frequently used processes, it provides you a training academy where new users who log on would be able to walk them through how to execute their transactions now, which is, again, Fiori based. Then digital projects. That's the automated enterprise project execution, which comes in very handy during the assessment. And also all the data that is collected, gathered, and done during the assessment gets fed into the actual project itself. So here you have the workflow wizard, the timeline simulator, the collaboration forum, and the smart dashboards, so you can manage your project completely from here. And finally, the digital labs. That's the automated SAP testing lab that we have. And I cannot speak enough about how testing is so important when you go through this transformation. Irrespective of whether you go brownfield or greenfield, you will have to first identify what your test cases are in case you don't have them. And then you will have to ensure that you test the right set of test cases with the right set of people, with the right data. So all this is generated from your existing system in the case of the brownfield. In case of a greenfield, we help you, KTern helps you in building those test cases as well. And then digital minds. So what does the digital minds is basically the automated business consulting. And it provides you the SAP business operation cockpit, the process mining wizards, the simulator bots, the ROI estimator, and the CX optimizers. So this is a continuous process where your business process gets monitored, and you will have to ensure that you keep innovating from time to time. So when you start on an assessment, primarily you would have tons of questions around these various areas. So what is the business processes that I have? Who are the users? Who should be the project team? How should the communication be handled? What are the simplifications that's going to happen when I move from ECC to S4? Do I have the right tools for the data and the testing? Do I have the scenarios? How am I going to train it? What is going to be my project approach, and so on? So at the end of this assessment with KTern, which is automated, all these questions that you see here are answered. So you get to know what is the impact of S4HANA to the business? How complex is your current business? How good are you following the industry standards? What are the processes configured in your system? How critical are they? Are you heavily customized? And things like the simplifications. What are the impact of the SAP S4HANA simplification list? What about the master and configuration data? So this is a whole slew of questions that you see here that you have answers for at the end of this assessment. This assessment could be run it through a 4-week or a 12-week period. And if you take the 12-week option, at the end of it, you actually get a complete blueprint with you with which you could get started on your project. So, and this is completely driven, the first step in the assessment, a little more detail about, we go through this with the Activate methodology. So we have value discovery, you have the POC and preparation. So next gen solution POCs are also built during this assessment. We have the refined business case document. We have the business scenario mapping, and then we have the system to build the prototype as well. Then with this at the end of 4 weeks, we are able to gather all this information and provide you insights on what your current system is, how you should get into S4 and hence get digitally transformed. The key factors in the assessment I would highlights, I would say, are the business process mining, where you understand your business process, and then the landscape assessment, both for SAP, your SAP landscape, the kind of interfaces, your user profiling, the archiving recommendation, add-on analysis, the custom code analysis, like I talked before, the transformation insights, and the timeline and effort estimation. So how long is going to be your project? How many people do we need from your IT, from your business? Who are the key business stakeholders? And who should be involved in the testing, and so on. So post this analysis, you have a detailed report. And so what we have analyzed is under the Analyze tab. And okay, now I see a poll question that says, do you want a demo of K-turn.ai where we can show you the extent of the functionality of K-turn.ai, and also maybe look at an assessment report. How does it look like, and what you get from doing an assessment with KTern.AI? So I'll give you a couple of minutes to answer that question. Okay, while you answer, okay, let me talk about, so now that we have this analysis report, you have the SAP solution roadmap analysis, you have the SI check, you have the Fiori apps, you have the test readiness, you have the data strategy for external audit, you have the transformation landscape requirements, the BTP requirements, because you might have other third-party systems that you want to connect to. So, but then at the end of this analysis, we also provide you all the mini projects that you could possibly do. Examples could be the business partner conversion. It could be a custom code remediation. It could be any number of smaller projects, the archiving project, how you can implement new cache management ahead of time, activate the new GL. And if you have had additional add-ons, you can upgrade them. So at the end of an assessment exercise, it's not just a report, but it's actionable items on what you can do to speeden your process to get to the digital platform, and how you can do these as mini projects ahead of time, so your actual transformation to S4 becomes a lot easier. Okay, I think possibly if the questions have been answered, can I move on to the next slide? Of these, I think in my earlier engagements, what has really caused a lot of pain is being ready for the test readiness. Now, many customers, they don't know what to test at that point because it's been a while since they did an upgrade. They might not have the right tools to upgrade, to do the testing, and it is not automated, and you need to know the right people to do the upgrade, to do the testing as well. And then the transformation landscape requirements. Halfway in the project, you don't want to find out that your other SAP-related applications, maybe a CRM, SRM, or whatever you have, is not compatible, and those need an upgrade as well. So these are some things that you would look at ahead of time. And with BTP requirements, because you're going with RISE with SAP, you have the option to use BTP as your integration platform. Then you might want to identify what are the other applications that I have. Can I get rid of some of them? Can I actually import those applications into BTP? Can I build a better application and be able to interface with my core S4 as well? So these are some questions that get answered on the way while we do the assessment. So we have these business workshops with you. Ahead of that, we gather all this information, and the business workshop is more driven by KTern rather than just a question and answer session. So we present to you what we have found from your system, and then we help you to maneuver through this transformation journey. And also there could be add-ons that have to be upgraded. There could be custom code that you could clean up ahead of time. So these are some mini projects that we suggest at the end of the assessment that we work with you on those mini projects to be able to take you to the next level. So finally, if I look at the various components, Rise with SAP primarily comes to you as business transformation as a service. Its simplicity is what really helps us here, and it's one single contract. And rather than talking from ECC to S4, the language slowly goes around the business transformation itself. And it's not just the act of moving you from on-premise to the cloud, but it is a complete strategy where we offer this service along with SAP. And we, being the partners with SAP, we work on their Activate methodology. We work with you because we understand the business, we understand the industry. So here we are able to bring together the service and the solution for the true business transformation. And we have performed a number of assessments for our existing customers and also for other customers who have, as our initial step. And we have laid out their roadmap for future assessments. So this is a combined service that we provide with this. SAP Rise with SAP is the product. KaarTech provides you the excellence. K-turn.AI is the tool that is going to automate this process. And then we provide these services through our team of people. So earlier, when I talked about Rise with SAP, there was another interesting component that was called the SAP S/4HANA Industry Cloud. So what is this Industry Cloud? It is, I would call this as an integral part of SAP's intelligent enterprise strategy. It is SAP's portfolio that extends the intelligent enterprise strategy into the industry space, because the requirements and the priorities for each industry is very different. So you have innovative industry cloud solutions that has been built by SAP and also some by their partners. And these are built on SAP BTP, the Business Technology Platform, and running on the cloud infrastructure or hyperscaler, depending on what you choose. And the design of the industry cloud reflects the customer's core business needs, because your retail could have a different business need. Your wholesale distributor, you could have a different business need. So here in the next couple of slides, I touch upon the features of the retail industry cloud, the wholesale industry cloud, and also the industrial manufacturing industry cloud. And when you have this, it's similar to what you had as best practices and solutions that you had. So what are the industry priorities for a retail customer? Retailers face a different kind of challenge now in the way goods are marketed, bought, fulfilled, delivered, and sold, and it's in a highly competitive marketplace. And all the retailers can leverage technologies such as the cloud, AI, robotics, IoT, virtual VR, AR, to provide this shopping experience. But the four key priorities that every retailer would have is the omni-channel retail, where they want to do this commerce everywhere. So earlier, from in-store digital displays to online marketplaces and pop-up stores, omni-channel retail eliminates the line between these channels. So the solutions that are offered by Retail Industry Cloud helps you get there. And with the customer convenience, the curbside pickup you have the buy online, pick up in store, you have the scan and go or just walk out options. And these are here to stay, and they're catching up really fast. So if you're able to, you'll have to be able to, these solutions give you, satisfy these requirements and provide you the last mile as well. Then the marketing personalization. Understanding changing trends and unique customer preferences is the key. Primarily, powerful retail analytics is gathered, and that sheds light on customers' current and future needs, and it helps the retailers shape their offerings. Personalized marketing and experiences based on consent and trust build the customer loyalty as well, and ultimately the profitability for the enterprise. And the last is the sustainable shopping. When customers want to purchase from companies that demonstrate sustainable business behavior. So we have advanced technologies here that are essential to provide the transparency that is required. So what are some of the most commonly used SAP Cloud Retail solutions? One of them is the SAP Intelligent Returns Management. This offers a seamless, transparent product return process with AI-assisted routing, dispositioning, and analytics. And while it also maximizes the margin on returns and reducing carbon emissions. And then you have the SAP Commerce Cloud, which creates engaging digital storefronts for any device using AI to deliver hyper-personalized e-commerce experiences. promotions that maximize conversions, and so on. And the third one that is most commonly used is the SAP S/4HANA Retail for Merchandise Management, where you're able to transform your core process with intelligent ERP for the retail industry by improving in-store operations with real-time insights, drive customer-centric merchandising, and optimizing the supply chain. So it's not just a matter of collecting all this information. How effectively you use it is what these solutions bring about. So if you look here, the retail industry, I've classified them into the retail industry cloud into 5 buckets. So there are multiple solutions available under each. Under retail marketing and customer experience, the solutions that you find here primarily help enterprises to gain customer trust and deliver unified, superior, personalized customer experiences in every interaction. Under retail merchandising, what you have, the solutions improve customer loyalty and increase the conversion rates to drive repeat business and profitability. The third one, the retail sourcing and procurement, help manage and operate global business networks. So you have the indirect buying, the invoice and pay, the merchandise buying, and so on. And under retail supply chain, the solutions help us create transparent and customer-driven supply networks. So you have the transportation management, warehouse management, and so on. And the last one, the omni-channel retail and store operations. These meet the evolving shopper expectations at brick and mortar stores as well as online stores. So these are various solutions that you can activate once you, after you've gone to S4 and choose to use the particular industry cloud. So now when I move on to the wholesale, what are the priorities for the wholesale industry? With the wholesale, especially with this COVID-19, what we have seen is many of these wholesale distribution companies are challenged to find a new balance as special practices are becoming the new normal. So increasing supply chain disruptions require wholesale distribution companies to be more agile and evolve business operations in response to factors such as logistics costs and transportation capacities. So what are their key priorities? The first one I would say is the ability to offer high value service. In the past, if you looked at wholesale distributors, they serve their customers by breaking bulk and carrying a standard catalog of products. But that is no longer enough. We have to have customers have many new sources to buy the same product with compelling price and other delivery options as well. So for any wholesale distribution to remain relevant, distributors need to provide something more. So what are those services? I would say some services around the products that can't be offered by online competitors. Wholesale distributors will have to be able to get to this state if they can understand their correct service market fit. They have to fine tune their current processes for higher efficiency. And they might also have the need to tailor existing value-added services to meet the needs of the right customer group. The second one is their ability to deliver anything, anywhere, anytime. And this is achieved by intelligent inventory investments. When providing products that precisely fits the needs of the customer at the right time, at the right price has been commonplace in traditional wholesale distribution environments. But then, like I said, there are more challenges because you have to react very quickly. So to move towards a model where you would be able to achieve this, you first need to identify the efficiency issues and cut the slack on your existing processes. Then you should be able to push standardization and simplification in the processes, thus becoming more responsive. And the third one would be the ability to extend the business model by leveraging smart tools for automated handling of material-related data, inventory optimization, and logistics capacity management. When you do this, it automatically increases the responsiveness in end-to-end processes, focusing manual work on high-value tasks and exception handling. When you have these in place, it's very easy to be able to transform the business by intelligent technologies backed by, you have the RPA, you have machine learning for customer price optimization, you have predictive inventory stocking, and chatbot supported order management as well. The third point priority for wholesale distributors is always the end-to-end customer solution. When you have so many options in the marketplace, distributors need to establish themselves as trusted partners. So rather than they'll have to work very closely to understand the needs and also be able to collaborate on larger projects. So distribution companies, they'll have to move away from today's model of largely reactive sales order capturing, and will have to bid for customer projects, optimizing the overall margin of the bid and driving proactive customer engagement. And the last one is optimizing business processes. All businesses should focus on efficiency, but over time, and they would have, but over time, these processes can become outdated or broken. So companies can become reactive, and employees spend much of their time on workarounds and manual tasks. When distributors introduce intelligent technologies, this becomes a lot easier. So here I have classified them into five buckets. The wholesale distribution solutions fall under five categories: the supply chain planning, the procurement, the supply chain execution, marketing and sales, and service. So these are various solutions available in the industry cloud, which customers can make use of once they have signed up with RISE with SAP and gone either the public cloud or the private cloud way. So if you would be interested, we can talk to you in more detail after understanding your business and be able to do the assessment along with you. At this point, I would like to hand the discussion to my colleague Amudan, who will talk you through our success stories with RISE with SAP. Over to you, Amudan.
Thanks, Vaidagi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the participants who is connecting across the globe for this webinar, RISE with SAP. Thanks, Vaidagi, for your sum up on RISE with SAP in brief. With the specific time what we have. So I'm excited to share the success story what we had during our implementation. To just a brief, RISE with SAP, to put it in a simple word, it's a simplicity on the product as a whole or on the implementation per se. For the people who are there for 15-20 years in SAP industry would know, there will be 3 or 4 groups which come in and put their hands before the application layers is spread out. So which means that we have the infra, database, OS, networking, all these people have to complete their job once this application layers be started up. But from the perspective of the organization which implements this ERP, doesn't have to worry about all those technology which they are not really into it, or they don't have that knowledge for that, or they don't have the technical support in that. So there was a lot of questions that why should we spend more time and materials on that. So SAP has come up with the answer for all this question which has been asking for last 15 to 20 years, which is the one word RISE with SAP, which gives, as Vaidhi pointed out, it gives the template, it gives the documentation, it gives a floor plan, it says how we can implement it, how do you maintain it, and moreover, it gives your backend, whether it is a data center or network, which will be maintained by the OEM itself. So which is nothing but the SAP, or if you're going for a private or public code, whatever it is. So they give a beautiful uptime on the production of 99.5%. Which is loud enough for the people in the business, and for the non-production they give almost like 95%. To just brief or share the success story, what we had is like this is one of the manufacturing major we had. They are a group of business where they have diversified into different process and their predominant idea was to have a process change in the manufacturing and to get a supply chain reprocessing done to reduce the costing in both these areas, and then to see some return on investments. So we took this, and then we with whatever options available in RISE with SAP, we were able to do this, and then we were considerably reduce the inventory carrying cost of this organization. I see, you can see there's a lot of data which is there on the reduction of manufacturing costs, all that. These were all the credits what we have. Predominantly, the inventory cost which they had as a concern was all taken care. So as Vaidhi said, business technology platform of RISE with SAP helps us for any organization which is getting into this ERP to innovate and to adapt faster to the new implemented ERP, faster or agility. That's what we claim to the situation, to the changing situations in the market. So the next one was for oil and gas major. So they are not into oil rigs or things, but they do to distributions and all that. They do a lot of projects on oil and gas industry. So they had the challenges to have a overall portfolio and on the portfolio or the program, and they didn't have a much clearer picture at the management level. The project is to combine core processes into integrated system with the seamless information flow across the modules within that organization and also between the group companies. So that was a major challenge they had. We were able to cater them together on both of these. And then need is to have a standard procedures and seamless integration between for the better control and transparency. We have adapted some of the standardization on the shop floor too, which gives reducing the cycle time during the production, which they're indirectly reduced in the cost, contributing to the ROI and the TCO. So both these are conglomerates which we have, and the first one was from the Oracle. We moved on to the SAP. Part of this, the rest of the other organization is to follow the suit. So we are just thrilled to have this two implementation done in the recent past, and then we are just waiting for much more better feedback from those customers.
So what you see up there is about Kaar Technologies. We are a pure play SAP consulting company, been in business for 16 years. And K-turn is our flagship product to automate SAP projects. We have worked across multiple projects in multiple industries, and our core competence is across SAP and all the other associated products, SuccessFactors, Ariba, Analytics Cloud. And you see the number of projects we have done, the man years of experience, and we would be more than glad to work with you. Please do get connected to us, and we will reach out to you as well post this webinar to share this information and take it to the next level. Thank you very much, and you all have a good day.
Thank you, Vaidhi. Thank you, Amudan. And thanks for joining the webinar. Have a nice day.